Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to show you guys how I create my videos. So it'll be a little bit of a tutorial on how to basically record gameplay on the PC, do a basic edit and get the file ready for uploading to YouTube. And I'll just run through the upload process with YouTube briefly after that. It's all very easy and all the programs I use are free. I'm going to show you now the programs I use. And this is all based on NVIDIA graphics cards, guys. So if you've got an ATI card or a Radeon, you can use a program called OBS, Open Broadcast Software. I'll put the link into the description. You can find out how to use that in another tutorial. It is a pretty easy program to use. I do use it to record my virtual reality games, but I'm not going to go too far into that. So for this tutorial, I'm going to be using Shadowplay. And just while I'm on this, NVIDIA Shadowplay is good for recording basically any gameplay. But if you want to record benchmarking videos, the best way to do that is to use a capture card in a second PC. Because you're going to have zero lag. You're going to be able to record on that second PC without losing any frames and performance for your benchmark video. I still use Shadowplay. I just can't afford a second PC to put another capture card in, so I still do it this way. So I'm going to show you guys how to do it. So Shadowplay is what we use to record. DaVinci Resolve is what I use as my main editing program. I'll also put that in the description. It's a free program. It's a great program to use, you'll see soon, and it's very easy to use. And that's what I use. And then when I finish with DaVinci Resolve and I've rendered my video, I get a large file size in excellent quality, but it is a very large file size. So then I use another program which is also free, also link in description, called Handbrake. And I'll run through that a little bit later as well. And it's also free, like I said. And what I do is I put my rendered video into Handbrake, and then once it passes through that, it basically keeps the quality exactly the same, but reduces the file size so you can upload it to YouTube and people can watch it without having buffering problems. It's not a good idea to be uploading 20 gig 10-20 gig file sizes. You can, but I mean a lot of people are going to struggle to watch that at full resolution. So we use Handbrake, and then once it's finished in Handbrake, it's ready basically to upload to YouTube. I record my voice with Audacity. I highly recommend that. Record your microphone with Audacity. It's also a free program, link in the description. I just get that recording before I start gaming. And the good thing about using Audacity is you can just play around with it a little bit. Once it's finished, you can give it a bit of bass, bit of treble, just make the voice sound a bit better and a lot clearer. I just found it's much clearer to use that. I'm using the Rode NT USB microphone. And that's it. So the next part, we'll just be going into game, and we'll just do a little bit of recording some footage. And I'll just go through Shadowplay with you, and then we'll be ready to use DaVinci Resolve to render the video. Okay guys, this is the easy part. This is where we're in game. We're just going to record. We're going to record some gameplay. Obviously I'm already recording now because I'm going to be making this video. But to bring up Shadowplay in game, or anywhere for that matter, even on your desktop, Alt-Z. And then there's our GeForce experience there. So if we go to settings here, don't need to worry about that. The HUD layout, if you want to put a frames per second counter, I have it up in the left hand side here, but you can't see that while recording normally. You can have that on. Keyboard shortcut, so just if you want to choose a key, just to a start and stop recording key. Set where you want your recordings to be saved. What hard drive you want the recordings to be saved on. Audio, there's something down here that you can't see while I'm recording, but there's a section where you want to separate both audio tracks. So when you're recording your microphone, you set your microphone up here and you separate both audio tracks, because when you put the your video into DaVinci Resolve editing software, Shadow Player's recorded my voice, but also Audacity is recording my voice, but I want to use the Audacity voice because it's going to sound better. So but when you separate the microphone from the game, at least you can see all the peaks and troughs. So when you drag in your Audacity voice into the editing software, you can just line the peaks and troughs up and then just delete this one here that you don't want to use. So you're just left with your Audacity voice record. So there's that. Just obviously set that up to how you want, but down here, getting to the the important part, I leave that on 5. Quality, you want the quality on the maximum possible. So in-game resolution, 60 frames per second is the highest you can get anyway. And you want the bit rate to be recording at a maximum of 130 megabytes per second, because you want to record at the highest quality possible. Because later on we're going to reduce the size of the file anyway, so it doesn't matter, but you're still going to keep that quality. Okay, and what I will say is, because you're recording at 60 frames per second with Shadow Play, if you're doing a benchmark and you're running over 100 frames per second, it's going to look a little bit choppy. There's not much you could do about that, because it's recording at 60 frames per second, and it's a mismatch between that and what frames per second your game's running at. But if you're just recording gameplay, if you're doing a Let's Play or something, it's best to have VSync on and lock it at 60 frames per second, which is what Shadow Play records at, because it will be nice and smooth. That's it for Shadow Play. So I'm just going to close that off, and we're recording some gameplay. So I'm just going to just run out here and shoot some stuff. If there's anyone out here. And don't need to do much. Love this game. And that's probably all we need to do. Okay, so now I'm going to stop recording, and we'll go on to the next section, which is editing. Okay, so now we've recorded our gameplay. We want to drag that gameplay into our editing software. So I've just started DaVinci Resolve, and we're just going to go Untitled Project. Going to double click that, and I'm just going to drag this and make this box smaller so I can drag my video in. Okay, so we've got that. DaVinci's opened. Just going to drag the video straight in, just bring it over to the start there, and you want to change that. Would you like to change your timeline frame rate and video format to match? Just change. Yep, that's fine. So here we can see that that's not the right aspect ratio, so we just go down to the bottom right here, click on the settings button, and then we need to reset our resolution. So mine is 3440 by 1440. We're at 60 frames per second, and the rest we can just leave that. We'll go save, and then we got correct aspect ratio. This little slider here in the middle here, we can just slide that and just basically there's the whole video there. We can zoom in and out of it basically. So if you want to do some pretty fine editing, you can go right into it like that. But we didn't record a great deal of gameplay. This part was probably only the gameplay that we did. So there we have our video. I'm just going to drag that over there, because I'll show you how to do an intro. With this program, you could just do your own intro, whatever you want. If you wanted to use another program or software to do your own intro, you could just drag that straight in here to the start and use that. But if you don't want to use that, I'll just show you we've got some titles, which this program has. And you can have all sorts. This one here, title neon outlines. I'll just drag that in. Left mouse click and just drag and drop it there. So I'm just going to zoom out a bit to make that a bit bigger so we can see this box here. This little red line is our timeline. We can just drag that anywhere through our video. This one here, like I said, is just a little title. Now there's an intro, so if I click on that and come up here, I can change what's written in there, do whatever I want. And if I click on this little video here, I can change the size of it and play around with it. I can move it around. You can change the opacity of it. These little boxes here are for keyframing. So let's just say I wanted to have that. So if I just put all those back to normal. Let's just say if I wanted to zoom in on that from nothing to large, I can just zoom out. Put that at the start. Just click those two to keyframe, or just even this one. If I drag that all the way over here and then go back out like that, and there we go, we've keyframed that. So yeah, you can just play around with it. It's pretty easy software to use. So there we have a little bit of an intro, just a test. And what I'll do is just going to zoom back out again. And this little part here over here was just our gameplay. That's all we want to render for the time being. So I'm just going to cut that. So if I press B, we've got the little razor blade symbol. Now we can just cut our video anywhere on the timeline. And if I press A again, see, A and B keys are going to be the ones you use most for just editing. So I don't want to, we can just delete that. I'll just delete it. And now we're left with that little intro, a little bit of a video. This green bar is our game audio, so that's our in-game music and audio. This one here is because we separated our microphones. This is our microphone. And if I recorded with Audacity, which I did, I can just drag that in there and just line it up with these peaks and troughs in here. So if I just drag that over there and zoom into it, see how they got little peaks and troughs? You can line them up and then delete the in-game microphone recording and just have your good. If I would just go right click and delete track, then we're just left with our Audacity microphone recording, which is better quality. And press B and I can just trim that just for now, but you just set it how you do it how you want, and I just press delete key to get rid of the bit I don't want. And you can just do whatever you want to do. You can even do an outro, and you can just use these titles, drag it at the end here. If I drag that over here, press the little play button. See, there's a little bit of a cinematic one. And again, if I stop that, if I click on that box, you can change the text. There's first text controls. So we could just change all the writing in there. So yeah, that's basically it. You can play around with it. You've got the things I use mostly are the titles. I can play around with them and make them how I want, but video transitions is also one that you want to be using. So if you've got two sections of videos, so if you say cut the video and cut a chunk of it out, and you want to have a bit of a transition between those two pieces of video, you can just go to video transitions, come up here to the top, and these are the most common ones. I can sort of go to smooth cut, just drag that. Before I do that, I'm just going to put that right on the cut there and zoom in so we can see. So if I click smooth cut, drag it over, you can see it, that little white box. There you go, so you can see, and I can make that, if I just grab the edge of it, I can make that a longer cut. So when I hit play, it's not going to work because I've just cut the video. There's no, so basically if I delete that, if I cut that and just take this chunk out and then drag smooth cut over, it should work. And there's our smooth cut, and like I said, you can make that cut go for a lot longer and or shorter depending on how you want to do it. Okay, so there's, and you've got lots of different types of ones. You've let's just delete that one. Press the delete key, highlight it, press delete. What do we got? Diamond Iris. I can drag that over. Different effect. See? And that's pretty much all you need to know. I'll just won't worry about that for the time being. Next important part. So these parts, these little icons down here, the only ones you really need to use is this one here for editing, and this one when you finished editing, it's called deliver, but that one is for rendering. So if we want to render what we've done, we'll just click on that button there, and up here you just type what you want to call your video. Choose the location where you want it to, when it's finished rendering, it's going to save it to a certain location. QuickTime, you want to change that to MP4, leave it at H.264. We don't worry about network optimization, we do that in Handbrake. Make sure your resolution is correct. Frame rate is at 60 frames per second, and you want the quality to be on best because you still want to have maximum quality. Click add to render queue. I haven't saved my video, guys, so that's why that's come up, so I'll just save that. Also, if you are editing and you're doing a long video, always click file and save your project, because nothing worse than getting a power cut. Trust me, it's happened to me, and you've lost all your work and editing you've done. Just save your work. So there we go, ready to render. That's it there. So I'll just click start render, and then it would, depending on the size of the video, it will take maybe up to half an hour for a large, or more for a big video. If it's only sort of a 10-minute video, it will only take about half an hour, depending on the performance of your PC. And that's it. Then we have our that would be rendered. I'm not going to save, so we don't need to worry about that. So let's just say we've already rendered it. This one here is one I did the other day, Borderlands 1. We next want to use Handbrake, so we'll click on Handbrake. Okay, and this is a very simple program to use. This is our rendered program. This is our rendered video here. It's not the one that we did, but this is just another one I've rendered. We just click that, drag it over to here. It tells you what to do. Just drag this bar down. We want to go to production max to get the best quality. This is where we click web optimized, because you want that to be allowed to be progressively downloaded while it's being watched on YouTube. Make sure you click dimensions tab, make sure your resolution is correct and your aspect ratio is correct. If your aspect ratio is correct, your resolution will be right, so that's okay. Don't worry about filters. And the only other one we use is video. And this is the slider for quality. So if I'm doing a big long video, maybe half an hour long, I'll go to constant quality 28, and I won't go any lower than, I won't go any more left to that, because the quality would start to deteriorate. So 28 is the best quality to file size. So for a tiny video, maybe 7 minutes long, you can bring that to about 24, 25. Okay, leave that constant frame rate. You don't want it on variable frame rate because we recorded at 60 frames per second, so you want that on the constant 60 frames per second. Set this encoder preset to slow, because the slower it renders, the better quality and the smaller the file size will be. And if you hover over that little arrow, it tells you. Okay, and then you just type in whatever you want to call it, whatever. Click browse, save, and then click start encode. And then it'll be wherever you saved it, it'll be finished and it'll be ready for upload. And then the file size. So basically that out of Resolve, that video was 6.67 gig. After I finished with it in Handbrake, it's 1.51 gig. So that's dramatically reduced the size of my video, but it's kept it, the quality still great. Nice and smooth, good quality. YouTube tends to make it a little bit less quality, so that's why I like to record and get big file size at the start and get that quality at the beginning, and then we use Handbrake without losing much quality at all. And then we're ready to upload, so we go to YouTube channel. Top right hand side you'll see a little camera. Click it, upload video, and then you can either drag the video into this area here. I like to just click it and click where my games are and just drag it, or just click on it, just click it, and then it will start uploading, and then you just put your title in and set it up how you want, and that's pretty much it, guys. That's how I do my videos. It's pretty straightforward. This video is probably taking me a little bit longer than I expected, but I wanted to make sure that everybody can be able to do this as easily as possible. We're using free software here as well, so I'm not far from thinking about purchasing the full version of Resolve to get a few more extras in there. But really, for what most people want to do, Resolve has a lot of things in there which are pretty cool to use. It's an easy program to use, you've just seen it. You can play around with it. If you want to look at videos online to see how you can do some more fancy things with your editing, but you can just play with it. I mean, that's how I learned. I just play with it, and that's it. So hopefully everybody, hopefully some people get something out of it, and good luck with making videos, and we'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.